Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Arizona State University and the Center for Services Leadership. Thank you for joining us this morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world. I just, as a quick reminder, I want to ask you, if you're not speaking, which will be for most of you quite a while for the next 30 or so minutes, please set your microphone on mute. Now, we have a number of guests today in our Center for Service Leadership Community of Practice. So I'm going to introduce just for a minute the center, just for you to know exactly where we are and what we're doing. So the Center for Services Leadership is bringing together over 80 faculty members worldwide and just under 50 companies and organizations as well. And we're trying to bring those two worlds together, the service science and the service management, to the benefit of both. Some of the things we do is that we have executive education. So we have a mini MBA in services. This is a one-week program. The next one is in February. We have a 2.5-day symposium. We just had our last one. The next one will be in a little over a year. We do networking among members, including what we do today, which is our community of practice model. In our community of practice, we bring together a smaller subset of our members around a specific topics, and we are trying to understand that topic together, bring together the best insight of business practice as well as the academy on that topic. This community of practice today is our second meeting for our COP on customer success. With customer success, we mean just about anything surrounding the customer, the experience, satisfaction, loyalty, and all the other topics that are surrounding that area. Today, we are lucky to have Rohit Joshi as our presenter. Rohit is the VP of Supply Chain Management for Entercoms, and Rohit's going to talk more about Entercoms. Rohit himself is an experienced supply chain executive. He was, before Entercoms, he worked as an executive at Xerox. He also worked at Dell and IBM, and he has a master's in management systems from Virginia Tech. So I'd like to turn the microphone over to Rohit. Rohit, thank you very much for presenting to us today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Hallman. So everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Rohit Joshi, and I'm the VP of Supply Chain at Entercoms. Like Dr. Hallman said, my past work experience includes leading very large global and complex supply chains at Fortune 500 companies in the high-tech sector. I have broad experience across functions like supplier and partner management, inbound and outbound transportation, distribution, data analytics, S&OP planning, and some very deep experience in the aftermarket or the post-sales service parts and consumable planning. So again, Dr. Holman, thanks for hosting this community practice forum and giving us the opportunity to present at this webinar on customer success today, which I believe is your first or second webinar this year. So thank you again for that opportunity. So my topic for today is about how customer success can be managed by leveraging the BPaaS, or the business process as a service engagement model. To be very specific, our company, Entercoms, is focused on the journey of the customer after the purchase of the product. And one of the key drivers of customer success after a product is purchased is to ensure that any diagnosed defective parts are replaced in a timely manner to ensure customer uptime. This requires companies to ensure that they are planning aftermarket or post-sale service or spare parts at the right place, right location, and the right time to balance customer success with cost to the company, since we all know that there is always a finite budget to maximize customer success. So I'll be walking you today through how we see the spare parts planning process. How does it work today? What are some of the gaps in the current process which we believe cause customer dissatisfaction? Where we see the planning process going in the future with technologies like AI, and how we believe the BPaaS, or the business process as a service engagement model, will help us improve the customer journey after product purchase. So before I dive into the topic, let me just spend a few minutes talking about Entercoms and what we do at Entercoms. So I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving And if any of you traveled during this week, you probably had an airline experience that did not go too well. So I'm going to start by sharing a short clip of a video on slide 2 from the movie Meet the Parents. Nick, if you can help me roll that video, please.
Enjoy your flight, Ben. Hello. Oh, I'm sorry. We're only boarding rows 9 and above right now. You'll have to wait.
Well, I'm in row 8.
Please step aside, sir.
It's just one row. Don't you think it's okay if I...
We'll call your row momentarily. Step aside, sir. Thank you for waiting. We'd like to continue boarding the aircraft now. We're now boarding all rows, please. All remaining rows. Hello. Enjoy your flight.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Nick. I hope you guys enjoyed that video and hope you guys did not have to go through something like this during your Thanksgiving travel. So although this is a real funny scene and I think Ben Stiller does a great job, you can imagine when this happens to you in real life, you would probably be frustrated, angry, and probably never travel with that airline again. Key point here being poor customer service at any point in the journey after the customer purchase of your product, which in this case was the airline ticket, can cause you to lose a customer for life. So if you go to the next slide, slide 3, there are many examples like this of poor customer service. Very recently, I purchased a new refrigerator where the ice making unit stopped working within 3 weeks. It took 3 technician on-site visits to my house. So my wife or I had to stay home and spend a lot of time at home instead of going to work. And 8 weeks to get the spare part needed to fix my ice maker. It was a known quality defect, is what the technician told us, yet there were not enough spare parts and the product continued to be sold. Needless to say, this particular manufacturer is probably not going to get my business again. So Entercoms as a company was established in 2008 on this simple premise that the journey of the customer after they buy a product is extremely important and often underserved in the market. So in the Ben Stiller video you just saw, the product purchase was the airline ticket, but the same applies to all industries, whether it is high-tech, aviation, medical, oil and gas, industrial, or automotive. It could be a business-to-business environment, or it could be a business-to-consumer type industry. We think of this as the service life cycle, which is the bar graph in red that you see on the chart, which can be short with a 1 to 3 year range for certain products like mobile phones, or very long, maybe a 25 to 50 year range for certain products like airplanes or turbines. So companies touch a customer multiple times after the product is purchased, and our vision at Entercoms is to transform the post-sales or the aftermarket journey to improve the customer experience. We all know that a bad customer service experience has a serious impact on the brand reputation and ultimately the revenue. So providing best customer service experience is table stakes in the new economy. At the same time, it is also critical that companies are able to deliver on the customer promise while optimizing the inventory and the total cost to serve required to deliver the best service. So we focus at Entercoms on helping companies deliver the best service experience at an optimal cost via the BPaaS engagement model, which is a unique combination of technology, best-in-class processes, and domain expertise. And I'll get into that sometime later during my presentation. So if you move to the next slide, please. So let's go through briefly on what are some of the key measures of customer success after the product is purchased and how does spare parts planning affect it. So this is not intended to be a fully comprehensive list, but shows you how customer success is very closely related to the spare part planning process. So let me just pick one metric on the left-hand side over here and walk you through it end to end. So let's consider maybe predictive maintenance on the top. So a friend of mine who just had twins recently took a diaper subscription from an online retailer. The promise being that they will deliver diapers to your home right before you need them. This retailer gave the customer the ability to feedback to the company via a simple website interface any major events in their customers' lives, which would affect demand. Example, they're going on a vacation and they need a large supply of diapers, right? So using a combination of customer input into the future events and historical demand, my friend's feedback to me was that this online retailer was always able to deliver the diapers just on time, and he has hardly ever had to make a run to the store. Guess what? No escalations, no customer downtime, high ratings on surveys, renewal of subscription every month, and repeat purchases. So all the metrics on the right moved in the positive direction. Now you can imagine the same type of concept applying to your industries, whatever sector they may be in, where improving the planning metrics on the left will drive a high amount of customer success. Let's move to the next slide, please, Nick. So now let's talk a little bit about how we envision the future of supply chain planning to look like in the service part space. To do that, it's important for us to understand the planning process landscape. What we see is that today's planning processes are primarily reactive. The two most important inputs into the planning process today are historical demand and lead time, like you see on the top.